Thank you. Performance, identity, and exposure. So there's this guy I used to work with. His name is Steve Pepe. He was a rock star at General Electric. Like, he was identified as key talent. He was a young up-and-comer. He was doing really great stuff. And we were both on the same team. We're having coffee one day, and we both have like two drastically different career trajectories, but we both ended up in the same place. And we were kind of BSing, and he was just kind of talking about, how people accelerate in their career. And it kind of comes down to performance, identity, and exposure. Your performance, like, do you do good work? Your identity, what's your personal brand? Like, when people think of you, what do they think of? And your exposure, who knows you? Who knows what you do? So your takeaways from this are, like, look, your resume and your portfolio are only gonna get you this so far. In the long run, it's your reputation and your network. I mean, with one significant exception, every job I ever got in my life was through my reputation and my network. Your identity. Now, if you don't know where to start, here's a really good place. Right now, take out your phone. Text 5 people and ask them, what are the 3 words that they would use to describe you? And what you will get back will give you kind of an idea of where you are. And you can do this now. We'll come back to this during the Q&A. But I'm going to keep on talking. Okay. Exposure. Who knows about what you do? Like, you should all have websites. There's no excuse for that. And there's a lot of stuff out there, like the LinkedIn, the Instagrams, the Twitter, the Medium, the Facebook. All of those platforms are designed to kind of elevate your exposure to the world. And they're all free, too. So they're really great places to start. And the research and studies behind this are pretty obvious. Like, the wider your network, the more opportunities you're going to have. Cultivate patrons. Target's a big company. There's a lot of people involved in it. You don't know who your manager is or who your colleagues are going to be. And as you grow in your creative career, the people you grow with and the community that you work with is very important. And I use cultivate very specifically, like gardening. You got to nurture it. Got to take care of it. Got to make it work for you. Patrons are people who understand the value of what you provide. These are people who present opportunities, they clear obstacles, and they're vested in your success. And for those of you taking notes, those are also some really good qualities of a good manager. Champion good communication. There's a pretty good argument that creative projects either succeed or fail based on the communication that's involved in it. And here are some helpful tips. Just always start with being clear, being constructive, and being positive. Second thing, spend time to understand the people you're working with, understand your teams. Talk to them personally, like learn their skills, their goals, where they want to get, like what they're good at, what they're bad at, where they want to go in their career. Actively listen, which could be a presentation in of itself, but just like actually listen to the people that you're talking to. Some really interesting tactics. Put down the phone, especially in meetings. Better yet, put it away. Statistics have shown, like even when the phone is on the table in a meeting, it drastically degrades the value of the conversation. And there's a lot of corporate cultures that have embraced putting the phone in the basket, put it away for the meeting, have the meeting, everybody gets it back. Having constant feedback loops. And feedback loops are really important, especially when you're dealing with executives or C-levels. Regular flows of information, constant updates, having them know what's going on, no surprises. And person-to-person contact. Avoid email if you can. It's so easy to tweet, email, send out a Slack, and just kind of do that. But some of the most productive conversations I've had in business were when I just went desk side and just had a straight-up conversation. Managing up, down, and sideways. This is a good one. You ever put together a deck where you're pitching something, the designs are brilliant, strategy's super smart, it's a great business opportunity, only for it to get tabled by leadership, or even worse. I'm like, meh. Anybody? Show of hands? Yeah, there's a lot. It happens all the time, right? Okay. Turns out, it's not you. It's actually how you deliver the pitch. Now, there's really great research about this, particularly from Harvard Business School and McKinsey, on how leadership makes business decisions. Now, studies have shown there's about like 5 decision-making styles. Now, 5 it's not exhaustive or definitive, but in my experience of working with a whole lot of people, it's pretty damn close. Now, I discovered that when I was pitching to groups, I had better success when I did 2 things. When I identified the chief decision maker, and I tailored the deck to their decision-making style. Now, one of the 5 profiles deals with charismatic leaders. Now, statistically, that's 25% of the leaders that you're going to deal with. Anecdotally, I feel that number is a little bit low. So I'm just going to talk about this one group of leaders which you probably encounter on a regular basis. They're dominant personalities. They're kind of alphas. They talk a lot. They tend to be interested in new ideas. They're excited about opportunities. Looking at a couple of you on the front row, you're like picturing people that you work with. Yes, yeah. So like you kind of know what these people are like. Here are the things that factor into their decision-making process. They want their pitches, they want the information that they're receiving to be very simple and straightforward. It needs to be tied to ROI or competitive differentiation. They need to equally understand the good and bad, the benefits and the potential downfalls. And it also needs to be grounded in reality. And here's how you need to design that message. Taking all those things into consideration, that's how you craft it. You want to also keep it short. You want to put the critical information up front. Time is a valuable commodity for a lot of these types of decision-making leaders. You want to draw a very clear line from idea to execution. And something that was amazingly helpful to me was socializing it with other people that they trust and respect. Like if you're presenting the deck to a senior leader, it's always helpful to be like, hey, look, here's the idea. I wanted to run this by you. Just so you know, I talked to your counterpart in finance. You know, they have budget. They can move a little around, move things around a bit, but it's gonna be tight. They can make it work. I talked to production. They booked time already on this one. And I talked to digital and social media. They got photographers. Like, you know, do a little bit of the legwork for them. And these are people they work, and it shows that you are kind of accelerating into that leadership character that you can be. And lastly, give back and be kind. It's important to give back and be connected to the communities from which you exist. Like whether it's your family, your classmates, your design communities, your schools, your towns, you know, it's any of the things that you care about. Like Target as a corporation does an amazing job of this. I mean, congrats to you all because like your brand does really good stuff. When you experience new things from other people's perspectives, you grow as a human being. You know, that's why diversity and inclusion are so important to corporate structures. You know, talks like this are wonderful. You're meeting people who you normally don't work with every day. You know, and there's a lot of really fun stuff going on today where you get a chance to connect with your peers. You know, I'm a big fan of AIGA. I think they do really great stuff for the design community, not just locally, but nationally and globally. And their national conference is in your backyard in a couple weeks. Like, you should all be going to this thing. It's going to be fantastic. SY Partners, if you're familiar with them, they have a new offering called Leadfully, which is specifically designed to help creative leaders grow in the business world. All of those things are super helpful and super important. And lastly, be kind, especially to that person you see in the mirror every day, especially yourself. Like, none of this is easy. You know, work is hard, life is hard. So, you know, give yourself a break and keep at it. So, thank you very much. There were a bunch of questions in the comments section on my Instagram account. I'll gladly dig into those. But I'm really happy to like dig into any Q&A that you guys have. I'd love to jump in and hang out. I'm here all day so we can chat. And thank you very much for your time. So I appreciate it. Thank you.